welcome back to another video to our YouTube channel. I would just like to thank everyone for viewing our videos. We just realized that we actually have 2 likes right away. Thank you so much for whoever did that, and thank you for the views, even though they're not really that long. But still, thank you so much. We worked so hard to make this. We worked so hard to do the editing, and please stay tuned for another video.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. It means a lot to us for you tuning in and following along. So what we've been building in the first few videos is a Arduino circuits, and we've been doing some basic electronics. I mean, really basic electronics, but it's been quite fun so far. So what did we do in the first videos?
In the first videos, it was showing how we built it, and then in the second video, it was showing us about the wires and stuff, and the buttons and light.
Yeah, so we've been able to build a circuit. Starting off in really basic terms, it was a circuit that made the light turn on, and then we had the circuit where the light was flashing using the I/O pins. And then we modified the circuit to have a button to turn the light on or off. Now, what we've done in this circuit here is we've added another LED. So now we've got 2 lights, okay? Do you remember what LED stands for?
Lighting.
Light
in.
Emitting.
Emitting.
Diode.
Diode.
Right, light emitting diode. And they have a polarity, remember? Okay, so a diode only allows the current to flow through in one direction. So you got to make sure that when you wire it up, the polarity is correct. That's positive to positive and negative to negative. And in our circuit here, all of our positive wires coming from the Arduino to the breadboard are red, and the negatives are black. Now, we've got extra switches here. So in the last video, we only had 1 switch. And if you push that switch, the light came on and off. But what's happening now?
It's not turning on anymore.
It's not turning on anymore. Why is that? Did we do something wrong?
No, it's just that. Wait, let's just put it down so that's kind of easier for me. We need to put, so right now it's not turning on, right? But if we use both, you can see that it turns on.
Right. Now, why is that? So, what we're going to look at in this video is series and parallel circuits. So, what we've been building up until now is only series circuits. That means that all of the components are all in series with each other. That's one after the next after the next. So, with the power, went to the power rails, went to the resistor, went to the switch, went to the LED, went back to the negative or the ground. So it was a series circuit. And in that circuit we had the button, and if you push that button, then it would allow the voltage to flow or not. Okay?
But now we need to press 2 buttons. Now you can also see in this
before we get onto that one, we're going to explain why you now need to push 2 buttons. So this is still a series circuit. If we follow the wiring, we have the power coming in here, goes to the resistor. Now it goes to the first button, and then it goes to the second button, and then it goes to the resistor, to the LED, and then it goes back to the ground rail. So this is still a series circuit, and because we have 2 buttons in series, if we push this one, the current is still stopping when it reaches here. It cannot continue until you push this button. So what this tells us is when you're in a series circuit, every component comes one after the next, and if you have 2 buttons, then both must be activated. So this could be used if we wanted to launch nuclear missiles, for example.
Of course you wouldn't want to do that in real life.
Well, no, you wouldn't. But when you have something that's important like that, what do they have? They have 2 people must verify, and so the 2 buttons must be pushed at exactly the same time to launch the missiles.
So example, this is the missile, and right now it's on the ground. So the first person touches it, and the second person touches it, but they have to press it at the same time.
Now, obviously, if they're close by, I could push them both, but in real situation, they would put them far away from each other
Yeah.
so that you couldn't
There's
possibly
space
do
for
it.
the missiles.
So that covers the series circuit. Now, what's going on here with the blue LED? Okay, now in this one, we don't have to push both buttons.
Yeah, so here you need to press both buttons, but ooh, it's still turning on, and I'm only pressing one button.
Now, why is that?
It's because the buttons are closer to each other. Other than this one, there's a giant gap in the middle.
Not really. The reason why is because this circuit is parallel. So instead of being in series, it means that these two buttons are now wired a little bit differently. And you'll see on this circuit here, we have a little bit more complex wiring compared to here. So here, the power is going from one through the yellow wire, through the switch, through the red wire, into the LED. Whereas here, you see we have these alternating wirings. So this is a parallel circuit. And what that means is it gives the current an alternative path. So here, there's no alternative path. If both buttons are not pressed, the current cannot get around that next button. But in this case, using the additional wire that we have there, it's able to bypass the next switch. So therefore, either switch will work. Now this would be useful if you had lights in your house and you wanted one switch at the top of the stairs and one switch at the bottom of the stairs. If it was wired in series, you'd have to switch on the switch downstairs, walk upstairs in the dark, and then switch on the next switch, which would be pretty pointless, wouldn't it? But by having a parallel circuit, you would be able to turn on the switch downstairs and you could turn it off with the switch that's upstairs. Or you could turn it on upstairs and turn it off with the switch downstairs. So parallel circuits allow us to bypass another component that is in the circuit, or pass through both of them in the case of resistors. And we'll be covering that in later videos. So if we had two resistors, you can put them in parallel and they will have a different effect to two resistors that are in series. Do you know what that effect might be?
No.
So if you have two resistors in series, the value of the resistors will add together because it's one after the next, and it will add up. If you have two resistors in parallel, it has a different effect. Because now the current is going to split through the two of them. Okay? So we're going to go into more detail about parallel and series circuits later on as we get more into things.
But before we continue, let's show one of my favorite ones,
which is the other Arduino 4. So with this Arduino, this one has built-in Wi-Fi, and it also has a feature that Rhiannon likes very much and she'd like to show you.
Okay, so should we just use both sides? Or?
One goes into here. So there's a cute little thing when you power it up.
So I don't think you can see it very good in... Wait.
Well, they're not going to see it because you're not pointing it at the camera.
Wait, let me restart it. So you see, there's cute little lights, and it formed a heart, which is one of my favorite parts. And Dad said, like, once we get more later on, we will use the computer to change the shape. So right now it's just a heart, but once we learn more about it, we can change it into different shapes or stuff. But sadly, we cannot change the color.
Yeah, I don't think these are RGB LEDs, so these are just red LEDs. But we can program later on to have a different startup sequence. So instead of it doing this, it can do something else. But that'll be later on when we start looking at how to program circuits. So if you found this video interesting, and if you'd like to learn more about electronics and circuits and what we're going to be doing on this channel, then please do like and subscribe. Makes Rhiannon very happy every time we get a new liker or a subscriber.
Yep, it does.
So we'll see you in our next video where we're going to be moving on to something more complex. So these videos are all building up. We started with really basic unboxing of an Arduino, and within 4 videos we've gone from nothing to having a circuit like this, which is a little bit complicated already, right? Mm-hmm. So if you are following along and you have the Arduino projects book, then you can find this circuit that we just built on pages 28 and 29, and it also has a little bit more information in there about the circuit that we're building. So we're following through basically all of the projects that are in this book, and after that then we'll be coming up with some of our own ideas and some of our own projects.
Thank you again, and please like and subscribe.
See you next time.